What's up, Dark Elf Junkies? This is Drow Fanatic Nick, here to give you 5 specialized Drow weapons that your Dark Elf players and or NPCs can utilize in your campaigns. Now, these weapons are viewed as artifacts of Drow heritage, so the designs and foraging processes are aggressively guarded. Because of this, these unique weapons rarely find their way into the hands of surface dwellers. If they do, and a Drow discovers the folly, the Dark Elf is likely to remove the hands of the offender. Typically crafted as short swords, Spiderhair Blades look like any other bladed weapon. However, the victim quickly realizes it's not a typical weapon as they repeatedly wince in pain from any wound that it causes. During the forging process, these weapons are repeatedly dusted with crystalline fibers that are harvested from phase spiders. Although it makes the blade slightly weaker, the trade-off is worth it, as the weapon continues to shed these irritating fibers into any injury that it inflicts. Once the fibers are embedded in the skin, they bore their way down into the wound, causing terrible pain and profuse bleeding as they interfere with the natural coagulation process. Any creature hit by a Spiderhair weapon must immediately make a con save DC 15. On a failed save, the target suffers 1d4 points of additional damage. The DC decreases by 1 each round until the target saves, but causes 1d4 points of damage for each failed check. The ability does not stack, but if the target successfully saves and is then wounded again, the process starts over on a failed save. These humanoid keg tappers are used by jamming them into the flesh of an unfortunate victim and then standing back to watch the Gallagher show. This evilly designed device forms a vacuum which sucks the blood from the body of the target at a disturbing rate, spraying friend and foe with blood in a 5-foot cone. You decide if the spray causes any negative effects or if it's just for show. The spigot can be removed with a successful strength check, DC 15. However, in order to remove the spigot themselves, the target must make a successful con save, DC 15, in order to build up the moxie to tear it out. If someone is willing to remove it for the victim, then no such check is required. Regardless of how the spigot is removed, it causes 1d6 points of damage upon removal. On a successful hit, the spigot inflicts 1d4 points of damage and 1d4 points of bleeding damage per round. If a critical hit is scored, increase the initial damage and bleed damage to 2d4 instead. Crafted from the fangs of giant spiders, dire fangs are hollow, enabling them to be easily fitted with a steel spike and tightly coiled spring at the base. A locking mechanism holds the spike in place with just the tip visible from within the tooth. The tip of the spike creates a seal at the end of the tooth, creating a small reservoir within. Surrounding the spike, the rest of the fang is filled with 5 doses of your favorite poison. The fang is then buckled to the forearm so the tip of the weapon extends over the hand of the wearer. On a hit, the locking mechanism disengages and the steel spike is forced out the tip of the fang and into the unlucky target, dealing 1d6 points of piercing damage and forcing a save against the poison. It takes a round to reload the spike, but the attacker can continue to make melee attacks without the poison effect. Every time I think of this weapon, all I picture is Baraka from Mortal Kombat. Finish him! Continuing with the Fang theme, the next weapon is the Fanged Web. This weapon is a sinister improvement on the standard throw net. Dozens of jagged blades and crystalline fibers are woven into the net, making an effective and potentially deadly capturing device. Targets caught in the Fanged Web will soon realize that struggling is not the best idea, as it can inflict serious wounds. The Fanged Web doesn't cause damage until it has a target entangled. Once caught in the web, the target takes 1d6 points of damage each round they remain entangled, and an additional 1d4 every escape attempt, whether it's successful or not. Ripper chains are very similar to spiked chains, except they require the finesse of a Dark Elf to be used to their fullest potential. They're designed to loop around a target's arm, leg, neck, or any other part of the body that can be lassoed, and then reel the target back in painfully. The jagged barbs dig deep into the target's flesh, causing waves of pain and bleeding wounds. Just the sight of this weapon strikes fear into any target that's not heavily armored, as they envision themselves being caught up in its coils. Treat the Ripper chains as a spiked chain, except it deals 2d6 points of damage, and if it's in the hands of a Drow, it also is a +1 weapon. Alright, Guiding Bolt fans, I wanted to keep this video short and sinister, and hopefully I've delivered on that. These weapons are actually part of the quintessential Drow book from 3.5, reskinned to be used with 5th edition. This is not a comprehensive list, so if I haven't quenched your thirst for blood, check out page 41 of that book under Tools of the Drow for even more gruesome goodies. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking or subscribing. We do put out weekly content, so if you subscribe, you'll get notified as soon as something new comes out. Thanks for watching.